All right, we got one from LV Nation. Let's go. Go follow, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, so Democrats have given up and returned back to Texas, and it has gotten worse. We got to talk about what just happened. So, Texas Senate has officially passed the new U.S. House maps as Democrats now storm out of the chamber because they're so mad. So, they storm out after returning back. The vote is finally across. Now, all it needs is House approval, and the Republicans will they will pick up potentially 5 U.S. House seats. So they are finally playing to win. Now, this is the moment that it happened. Democrats in Texas get pissed off at the fact that it's over. The runaway Democrats have surrendered. And now there is a new U.S. map that will now be beneficial to the midterms for the Republicans and for Donald Trump.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, I know that there's a lot of discussion about what's coming forward today. Everyone has different.
Here they are. Here they are. The moment that it happened, they're just all walking out because they are mad as Texas just became way more red. And now the House will have 5 additional Republican seats. And boy, oh boy, look, the gerrymandering, this all started with Democrats. Democrats were the ones that started this, and Republicans finally played the game, and they just won. As most of these guys now forced to return back to the crib. Breaking. Republicans win the Texas House. Texas House Democrats will now be returning to Texas for Greg Abbott's special counsel, where the new U.S. House maps will be passed. Democrats cave again. We're about to have 5 more Republicans in the U.S. House seats. Ladies and gentlemen, hilarious time to be a Democrat. They tried their best to run away. They tried their best, but they have failed. Let's take a look at how it's all being covered here.
The plot thickened in Austin today as the redistricting battle moved into the Texas Senate now, with Democrats in the Senate also walking out. 9 of the 11 Senate Democrats leaving as the chamber started debate on a highly controversial proposed new congressional map that Republicans are pushing. That map would move Texas voters around into different congressional districts with the aim of flipping up to 5 Texas congressional seats from Democrats to Republicans in next year's midterm elections. Now, the walkout by the Senate Democrats today was mostly symbolic. Republicans still had enough members present to vote and pass the new map. But over in the Texas House, another day without a quorum because so many House Democrats had left the state that they've paralyzed business in that chamber. But the Texas House Speaker says Republicans won't stop until a redistricting map is passed.
If we still do not have quorum on Friday, the House and the Senate will sine die this session, and the governor will immediately issue a proclamation for a second called special session. We will gavel in for the second session Friday and reestablish the call of the House.
So now we know that they are returning back, and they have returned back, and now it's pretty much passed. So Democrats again crying, going to Illinois with J.B. Pritzker, going to California with Gavin Newsom, and all this gerrymandering again that they've done throughout the decades have now collapsed. They just collapsed. But where is Jasmine Crockett? Now, Jasmine Crockett is the news that I want to get to eventually, because she's nowhere to be found. Jasmine Crockett is probably going to be the one who suffers the most here now that she's already noticed that she's not going to win a now red district. So she's pretty much cooked. She's nowhere to be found. She's gone into hiding. Her staff doesn't even like her anymore. But we're going to get to that in just 1 second. But first, let's actually talk about what just happened here. About Texas Democrats who, again, just lost. They're returning back. But when are they returning to work? Here is Will Cain and a Democrat who is and was running, now returned back. Take a listen to this wild exchange about everything that's going on and how they've accepted that the gerrymandering that they've done for decades have backfired.
But when you're winning in Illinois, you're happy to play by these rules. Again, I've condemned all gerrymandering across the country. And in fact, when Democrats had a majority in Congress, they voted to ban gerrymandering in every state, red states and blue states. Do you know how many Republican members of Congress joined them in that effort?
Which one? I'm sorry. Which state did you just refer to?
I'm asking, do you know how many Republicans joined Democrats in the U.S. Congress to ban gerrymandering? All the Democrats voted for it. 0 Republicans voted for it. 0.
It's an odd.
So you can spare me the both sides rhetoric. It's clearly one side that is trying to rig the rules in the middle of the game. This is like 2 football teams coming out of the locker room at halftime, and the team that's ahead says they want to change the rules for the second half so they can win the game. All of us would be throwing food at the TV if that happened. We don't accept cheating in our politics. We don't accept cheating in our relationships. We shouldn't accept cheating in our elections.
You've done the same thing as us, and we are going to, by the way, if you do it, we're going to ratchet it up even more, in the words of Gavin Newsom.
My party has never.
Yeah. So again, this guy is trying to frame this as if the Republicans are the ones cheating. But what's so sad about this is he's not taking into accountability that they are the ones who started to do this. They've done this to Illinois. They've done this to California. They've done this to New York, which is why New York City is the way it is. So what's the actual truth here? Well, Will Cain responds to him by him trying to troll and edit this video up because he was getting cooked here. Oh, James, trolls distorting the interview is one thing, but you were there. I respectfully gave you 10 minutes and the entirety, and an eternity, in cable news, which is an eternity. And in all that time, you had no answer to why you've abandoned your job. You can take the flag to the IL, but you still cut and run from Texas. And not only that, he again has accepted that the Democrats have gerrymandered, but all of a sudden they want to change the rules. They're the ones who want to change the rules. You can't gerrymander all of a sudden. Now it's the worst thing possible after you guys have benefited from it for decades now, which is why some of these states are going to continue to be blue no matter who. But again, the big news here is breaking. The Senate in Texas just passed their new map. They eliminated 5 Democrat seats, including Jasmine Crockett. Again, they're so sad to be returning back. They're so sad. They're heartbroken. Look at them. They're heartbroken. Oh no. We got to go back. We have to go back. But this thing gets even interesting. Democracy is at risk, says Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom says democracy is at risk because Texas might redraw districts. But in California, Harris got 58.5% of the vote in 2024, and Democrats hold 82.7% of House seats. Republicans got 38.3% of the vote and just 17% of the seats. Replace the word democracy and the Democrats' political power words, and suddenly his outrage makes perfect sense. Take a listen to this. It's a very interesting video of how they're trying to flip and make all this happen. Again, after getting cooked and surrendering.
Hey, President Trump, it's time to stand down. It's time to make another phone call to Greg Abbott. This time, instead of calling him and telling him you're, quote unquote, entitled to 5 congressional seats, it's time to tell him to stand down. It's time to recognize that democracy is at risk.
Remember what I said about Democrats talking about democracy being at risk. Remember what I said about Democrats talking about democracy being at stake, or democracy being on the ballot. When you hear Democrats claiming democracy is at stake, replace the word democracy with Democrats' political power. So what Gavin Newsom is really saying is Democrats' political power is at stake. So he's hiding behind morals and democracy in order to try to put pressure on Texas to not do something that would harm Democrats' chances at political power. Democrats in California were so worried about democracy and voters not being disenfranchised, their electoral map would look different. In California, 58.5% of voters voted for Kamala Harris and 38.3% voted for Trump. Now, if you go to the U.S. House of Representatives, 82.7% of those representatives are Democrats. Only 17.3% are Republicans. The Democrats get 58.5% of the vote, but they get 82.7% of the representation in Congress. That is not by accident. And now he's talking about adding more seats, which would then move Democrats' representation to 92.3%, and Republicans' representation would be 7.69%. Republicans would have 4 out of 52 seats, even though Republicans have almost 40% of the vote. But let's let him continue.
Founding fathers, 249 years. We're not going to sit back passively. We're not going to sit back and watch you light democracy on fire. We will fight fire with fire.
Translation, we're not going to sit here and let you destroy Democrats' federal political power. So we're going to fight fire with fire by making sure that 93% of representation in this state goes to Democrats and only 7 goes to Republicans to make sure that we can win on the federal level. He's not worried about democracy. He's not worried about being virtuous. He's worried about winning. If they were so virtuous and so worried about voters being disenfranchised and democracy, they wouldn't have one of the most partisan-leaning district maps in the United States.
And the whole entirety of California. Enough said. Just look at the redistricting that they've done throughout these big blue states. Voters being disenfranchised has been happening for a very long time in these states. So again, what is the whole Texas dilemma about? Oh, you can't do it. You can't do it. Why? Well, because it's going to hurt us and the fact that we're just not going to be able to do what we need to do to have these House seats. So Republicans have chosen to play the same game that the Democrats have been playing for this time. And now that the Republicans are doing it, the Democrats are now the ones basically bantering together and throwing tantrums at something that they invented pretty much, that they're the ones doing. Now they must face the consequences of coming back to do their jobs because it's already over. They've already lost.
Now I'm 68 and doctors ask me for